I will give you an example of a taxpayer who has a elderly father who's 70 years old, and he lives by himself and he owns the home. In determining the support for the dependent, we need to first find funds belonging to the father, the person supported. So the taxpayer supported. So on line one, we have on line one, the father had 35,000 funds available in the beginning of the year. And he used 19,000 for his support for the year. And he used 10,000 for other purposes. And he had 6,000 in his bank account. So he had 6,000 in his bank account in the end of the year. So when we add line 2 through 4, we get 35,000. This amount should equal total funds available during the year. Next, we'll determine the expenses for the entire household. So the father's for lodging, he does not rent. He owns the home, and the fair market value of the home is 100,000, which does not include repairs. It does not include any repairs. And window installation. It does not include that. So, and the food, sorry, that should be in 6B. That would be 100,000. And the total food expense is 24,000. And the utility, heating, electricity, water, that comes out to be 36,000. And total amount repaired, he got roof done and window installed for the winter. So that was 25,000 that he spent. And the total of 6B through 9 is, no, not yet. So the total expense, the other expenses were about 5,000. That includes buying a lawnmower, buying the water heater, buying computer. So that all comes out to be 5,000. And the number of people living in the household he's the only one who's living there. So this is the total household expense. 190,000 is the total household expense. Next, we'll figure out the father's total expenses for the year. His share of the expenses is 190,000. We get that by dividing line 11, which is the total household expense, by line 12, which is the total number of people living in the house. He's the only one living there. So we divide 190 by 1, and we get 190,000. On line 14, his total clothing expense is 20,000, and his total education expense, CE credits, and continuing education courses, that is equal to 3,000. His total medical and dental expense that is not paid or reimbursed by insurance, that's 2,000. He bought some things like blood pressure instrument, over-the-counter medicine, so that equals 2,000. His total travel and recreation expense, like gasoline and coal, that comes out to be 5,000. And he has other expenses like toiletries, computer paper, printer cartridge, that kind of stuff. That's 3,000. And when we add his share of the household expense plus the other expenses like clothing, education, medical, travel, and other expenses, it comes out to be 223,000. When we add 13,000 through when we add line 13, when we add line 13 through 18, we get 223,000. Next, we'll determine if the father provides more than half of his own support for the year. So in order to do that, we have to multiply line 19 by 50%. Line 19 is the total cost of father's support for the year, which is 223,000. We multiply 223,000 by 50%, and we get 111,500. This is the half of the expenses he incurred for his own support. In line 21, we enter the amount from line 2, which is 19,000 plus the amount of his home, fair market value of his home. So 19,000 plus 100,000 is 119,000. So this is the amount father provides for his own support. We asked on line 11, we asked if line 21 is more than line 20. Line 21, which is 119,000, is more than 111,500. Therefore, the father provides more than half of his own. Next, we'll determine if the taxpayer provides more than half of his father's own support. Line 23, in line 23, we need to enter the amount other provided for the for the father's support. Include the amount provided by the state, local, and other welfare societies and agencies. Do not include any amount included on line 1, which is the total funds belonging to the father who taxpayer support. So the other relatives did not provide any support to the father. The taxpayer is the only one who provides support. And the father didn't get any state, local, and other welfare societies and agencies support. He didn't get any support from state, local, or other welfare societies and agencies. So the amount is 0 on line 23. Then on line 24, we add line 21, which is the amount father provided for his own support. So 119,000, we add to line 23, which is 0, and we come up with 119,000. This is the total amount the father provided for his own support. This is the total amount. On line 25, subtract line 24. Line 24 from line 19. We subtract the total amount dependent provided for his own support from the total expenses incurred by father, which is 223,000. And we get 104,000. This is the amount taxpayer provided to the father's support. Then next, on line 26, we ask if the amount taxpayer provided to the father is more than the half of the father's own support. It is not. So no, the amount of support provided by the taxpayer is less than the half of the dependent's own support. Therefore, taxpayer did not meet the support test.